So you come here with Dad, and he's with the family and sewing machine business. How old were you around that at that time? Do you
I was
remember?
9 when we moved here.
9. So you started working like a year later, according to the rules in Branson.
Just almost. I was 16, when
Yeah.
I got my first job, but
Really? And what did you do at 16?
fiddle player. Yeah.
In what show? Do you remember?
The Collins Family
Really?
gospel music show.
Tom led that? Was it Tom?
Not quite. Yeah, not quite. It was a family from Oklahoma, and they had a little gospel show. And back in those days, the season was 6 months. It was from around Memorial Day to or around 1st of April, probably somewhere April to around Halloween.
Yeah.
Those 6 months. That was the season for the entire area. Now the music shows at that time, then for the other 6 months, everybody had a bus, and they booked these road shows all around the Midwest, all the states that.
Did you get to do
come
that?
to Branson. Yep, we all had to do that, and it actually, as you look back, you think that's what kept everything growing steadily.
Because they
for
built a
years and years.
following.
Because we were marketing.
Right.
All of us were out marketing to our Midwest market for 6 months. We were going to their hometowns.
Yeah, there you go.
Just fill 1,000-seat auditoriums everywhere you went. It was really. I didn't like the road, but it was
Yeah.
fun to do that.
For a while.
For a while, yeah. Then you got to come back home. But that show, the Collins Family show, they didn't do that. They just went back to Oklahoma for 6 months. And I was still in high school, so that's the only job Mom would let me have
Yeah.
because I couldn't travel. So I had to wait till I got out of high school to get on a bigger show. And
Oh, yeah? And then you moved to what?
the Wilkinson Brothers.
Wow. There's a lot of families involved.
There were a
with
lot
this
of families
situation.
then, yeah. Almost every show was a family show then. And so they toured, and we got to do that. And then I moved to the Plummer Family Show, which was one of the founding shows.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that. Yeah.
I was there for a while, and then ended up at Silver Dollar City, and I was there for 16 years.
Yeah, you said 16 years. Wow. Echo Hollow?
Partly, yeah. Mostly for that. The first, I was always hired. The comedy came later, actually. I was always hired as a musician, mostly for the fiddle playing, and that's what I was hired for at Silver Dollar City initially, in Echo Hollow. And then
That's a difficult place to work. I did that my first year, and I did not like it.
Really?
No, because with comedy, people were so spread out. And
Right.
It's very large there.
It's very large, yeah. And there's an atmosphere outside that I liked and that I miss. It's a little different.
As opposed to going home and Mom and Dad putting you in the basement. And,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
'cause-
work the next day. And yeah,
I don't want to.
down there with the sewing.
Right. Making the little shoes.
Making the costumes. Yeah.
Yeah. But so comedy came a little bit later.
And why did you start doing comedy? You're playing. That's quite a jump from playing the fiddle to doing well, sort
It
of.
is. Well, I was always the comedian backstage and the comedian on the bus. I was the comedian for our group all the time. I was constantly,
Yeah.
making them laugh. And so, actually, it was at the Plummer Family show one winter. The comedian they had, something happened, and Daryl Plummer, the owner of the show, he's like, "Do you think you could do what you're doing on the bus here on stage?" I was like, "I don't know."
So you go out the first day, and you have to make people laugh.
Yeah, I was shaking.
Yeah.
I was shaking. So I sat down, and tried to come up. Okay, what's some jokes, and I should do a funny character, and so
What was your
I
character?
need a funny name, So Jim Dandy. That's
Oh.
that's where it first started. It's like, I don't know, I can't think of any funny names. They've all been taken. Herkimer, can't do that one.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Kirby, can't do that.
Can't do that. Right. There's many more that I just can't
Presley's.
say.
Yeah.
But so Jim Dandy. Everybody used to say Jim Dandy all the time, so maybe I'll try that.
Yeah.
So I tried to come up with these jokes and put them all together in a.
How did it go the first few times?
It went pretty good. It probably better than I thought because I was just shaking in my clothes, but probably didn't notice that. But
Yeah.
it got easier after that. Once you start getting the laughs, it's like, oh, this is kind of fun.
Yeah, then you start like riding that wave.
Right.
As long as you get the laughs.
Right. Mm-hmm. Then you get cocky and you go out on a limb and nobody laughs and you go, oh.
So I was going to ask you this later, but what was the worst time you ever had? Have you ever had just an impossible audience? For example, my worst introduction ever was I used to do church events. They would have, fundraisers and stuff, and they would have me come in and do a thing. And I was very excited about this huge church in our area. And so I'm actually behind the pulpit waiting to spring out, and I'm dressed, yeah, and I have all this stuff on me, and the pastor wants to do a little intro, and so he does. Nicest guy, but he decides that that would be the best time to talk about the church secretary's cancer coming back and how they're
Oh
starting they're going to have a fundraiser in 2 weeks for her, and they wish her the best, and would you please rise, and everybody comes up and gives her a hug and all this, and they're crying, and then he goes, so now let's just all have some laughs tonight. Come on out here. And I come out and I'm like, hey. So that was kind of a bad one.
Oh,
but it was one of my best shows.
Was it?
Yeah, because
Well, they
the
were
people
ready to laugh
wanted
at
to
that
laugh
point.
then, So
That's awful.
it was terrible because I'm underneath the thing thinking, what is he doing? Like this is gonna be a punchline, but there's not a lot funny in this intro. So your worst time.
Well, I have something sort of like that. It was at Silver Dollar City, and it was during the Gospel Music Festival. They still have that every year, and it's huge. It draws massive crowds, and so they book these big national gospel acts in Echo Hollow. And back then, I would not really host the show. They had another guy, a big gospel dude, that would host it, but I would kind of co-host because they'd have to change bands out and change some of the mic stands and different equipment for the groups as they would come and go. Because at Echo Hollow,
you're the transition.
You don't have a curtain, so So I would come out and as Jim Dandy and tell jokes and do shtick with the gospel guy to kill time for all this, and I'd go out and welcome everyone, initially. So one year they decided to, in case of rain and inclement weather, they would move all of that to the Red Gold Heritage Hall, which was new at that time. So Echo Hollow holds 4,000 people, and that holds about 1,500 people.
Right.
So they were going to move it up there. Seems like a good idea on the face of it, but
other than the math part.
But not, yeah. So they would give out tickets then to the first 1,500, and that's who got in to see the big acts that night if the weather was bad. So it happened. It actually happened that year. Weather bad. They made the decision, move it up there. And they pass out the first 1,500 tickets, and there's still thousands of people that came to see the Martins or these big groups.
Yeah, they come from all over to see this.
Yeah, and they're not going to get to see it. So the tempers flare.
You don't want to upset the gospel people.
And I can't even repeat some of the things. But it's like, and you're a gospel fan, and you just said that to me. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I go out to start the big show, and I'm in that crazy orange suit. It's obvious I'm not there to preach or anything.
Yeah,
so
you would think.
So I'm like, howdy everybody, give the big Silver Dollar City howdy, and how's everybody doing tonight? And you usually get a woo, it was woo, but it was a different woo. And a few people were standing up and they start shouting like at a union meeting or something.
And I'm like town hall meeting.
I'm just screaming out, we had the way, just all kinds of stuff. And I didn't even know what. But it was like 5 people standing up and then the rest of the crowd chanting with them.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, I don't know what to do about this. I can't even address this problem.
Yeah, what do you do?
So I just introduced the host. I said, how about a big hand?
And you're just
take it
out of there.
I'm going to go back here.
Occasionally working on the boat, we get that kind of thing because if the weather's bad, we don't take the boat out for safety. And people take it out on me. Like they'll be very angry. And because we are kind of the front man, the person, the thread throughout the show, they feel like you're the one that needs to.
You're the guy.
But they knew you were part of the show. And
it was scary. That's the only time that I couldn't really handle it. I didn't know. I had no idea
were
what
punches
to do.
thrown.
Yeah. I don't. Maybe out there. There probably was out in the line trying to get in, but I was afraid I was going to get. They're going to throw a chair or a shoe.
Oh yeah, you never know. They're very violent.
Those gospel folks are serious.
Yeah, passionate. That's the word.